everybody. Once again, I'm Bart Charles Begley, or BC Begley. Today is Monday, February the 20th, 2023, and here are today's top news headlines. Joe Biden visits Ukraine on the war anniversary and declares that Kiev still stands. United States President Joe Biden made an unannounced visit to Ukraine on Monday to meet with the Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, which was seen as a gesture of solidarity that comes just days before the one-year anniversary of Russia's invasion of the country. Now, speaking alongside Zelensky at Mariinsky Palace, President Biden recalled the fears nearly a year ago that Russia's invasion forces might quickly take the Ukrainian capital. Quote, "1 year later, Kiev stands," Biden said, jamming his finger for emphasis on his podium that was decorated with the United States and Ukrainian flags. Quote, "And Ukraine stands, democracy stands, the Americans stand with you, and the world stands with you," President Biden said. Now, the Ukraine visit comes at a crucial moment in the war as President Biden looks to keep allies unified in their support for Ukraine as the war is expected to intensify with both sides preparing for a new spring offensive. President Zelensky is pressing allies to speed up delivery of pledged weapon systems and is calling on the West to deliver fighter jets to Ukraine. That is something that President Biden still to date has declined to do. In Kiev, President Biden announced an additional $500 million in United States assistance. This is on top of the more than $50 billion that was already provided, including shells for howitzers, anti-tank missiles, air surveillance radars, and other aid, but no new advanced weaponry. President Zelensky said he and President Biden spoke about, quote, long-range weapons and the weapons that may still be supplied to Ukraine, even though it wasn't supplied before. But he did not detail any new commitments. Okay, let's go to the Big Apple, where an alligator was captured in a Brooklyn lake. Park workers rescued an alligator that was found in the Prospect Park Lake on Sunday, officials said. The 4-foot-long alligator was spotted on Sunday morning, according to a Parks Department spokesperson. The alligator was found in poor condition. It was very lethargic. The alligator may have been shocked by the cold since it's native to warmer climates. Quote, "Parks are not suitable homes for animals not indigenous to those parks, domesticated or otherwise," the spokesperson said. Quote, "In addition to the potential danger to park goers this could have caused, releasing non-indigenous animals or unwanted pets can lead to the elimination of native species and unhealthy water quality." Now, the alligator was taken to the animal care centers and then brought to the Bronx Zoo for rehabilitation, officials said. No one was harmed while recovering the alligator. Releasing animals inside New York City parks is illegal, officials said. Anyone who spots an abandoned animal should call 311 or find an urban park ranger. Each year, urban park rangers respond to around 500 reports of animal conditions in New York City. Japan says it is set to give Ukraine $5.5 billion and host the online G7 plus Zelensky. Japan's Prime Minister Fumio Kishida on Monday announced a new $5.5 billion financial aid package for Ukraine and will mark the first anniversary of the war by hosting an online Group of Seven summit with the Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky. Kishida, speaking at a global forum in Tokyo organized by a Japanese think tank, said Ukraine still suffers under the Russian invasion and its people need help to rebuild their daily lives and infrastructure that's been badly damaged by Russian attacks. As this year's president of the G7, Kishida said he will host an online summit that will be joined by the Ukrainian President Zelensky on Friday to mark the first anniversary of the Russian invasion. It will be the first time for Kishida to host a G7 summit. Japan has joined the United States and the European nations in sanctioning Russia over its invasion and for providing humanitarian and economic support for Ukraine. Japan was quick to react because it fears a possible impact of the war in East Asia, where China's military has grown increasingly assertive and has escalated tensions around self ruled Taiwan, which Beijing claims as its own territory. Have been injured after a decorative helicopter fell into a pool at a New Jersey water park. 4 people were injured at a water park in New Jersey's American Dream Mall on Sunday after a decorative helicopter structure fell from the ceiling and landed in a pool below, officials said. Troopers responded to the DreamWorks water park in East Rutherford, New Jersey, just after 3 p.m. for reports of visitors, quote, injured by a decorative prop that had fallen from the ceiling, the New Jersey State Police said in a statement. The decorative helicopter had been suspended from the ceiling and was believed to have somehow detached before falling into the pool, state police said. At least 4 people suffered non-life-threatening injuries, they said. 1 person was taken to a nearby hospital for treatment, state police added, while the other 3 were treated at the scene for minor injuries. The American Dream Mall said in a statement that it was conducting a, quote, thorough investigation into this incident to ensure the park meets all safety regulations as required. Over in California, the Oakland airport and 50,000 people in the Bay Area lost power due to a fire. A power substation fire temporarily caused outages at the Oakland International Airport and left 50,000 customers around the East San Francisco Bay Area without electricity on Sunday, Oakland fire officials said. The Oakland Fire Department responded to a fire on Pacific Gas and Electric property in the early afternoon and found a transformer on fire, an unidentified spokesman for the Oakland Fire Department said in a video that was posted to the social media platform Twitter. The fire has been extinguished. The fire caused power outages in Oakland and Alameda. Pacific Gas and Electric's website estimated power would be restored by mid-evening. Spokespeople did not immediately respond to a phone call seeking comment. The Oakland International Airport, which serves about 170 flights a day, lost power for nearly 2 hours, spokesman Robert Bernardo told the San Francisco Chronicle. A few security lines remained open for screening. KNTV reported. Social media posts show large crowds of people gathered at airport baggage claim. The power outage also halted some public transportation to the airport and snarled traffic on other roadways in the area. Antarctica's Doomsday Glacier is melting away differently than scientists had first thought. Researchers monitoring the rapid melting of the world's widest glacier have now a better understanding of its natural processes due to an extensive deployment of probes and warn that trouble looms due to a warming climate. Findings recently published in the Nature Journal said changes under the Thawite Glacier are different from what researchers first believed. Scientists reported melting below the ice shelf is slower than many computer models had estimated, but observations also determined that thawing in cracks and crevices is happening at a faster pace. Despite the new theories about Antarctica's Florida-sized glacier, a joint UK and US research program known as the International Thawite Glacier Collaboration said since the 1990s, around 8.7 miles of what used to be ice touching the seafloor has disappeared. Quote, our results are a surprise, but the glacier is still in trouble. If an ice shelf and a glacier are in balance, the ice coming off the continent will match the amount of ice being lost through melting and iceberg calving. What we have found is that despite small amounts of melting, there is still rapid glacier retreat, so it seems that it doesn't take a lot to push the glacier out of balance. Dr. Peter Davis, who is an oceanographer with the British Antarctic Survey, said in a statement, Korea fires 2 more missiles in tests which are condemned by neighbor South Korea. North Korea fired 2 short-range ballistic missiles into the sea east of the country on Monday in its second test launch in 3 days. That prompted Japan to request an emergency meeting of the United Nations Security Council. Now, the launches continue a tit-for-tat exchange that began on Saturday and follow a year in which North Korea launched more than 70 missiles, which was the most ever. Pyongyang has recently escalated nuclear threats and threatened an unprecedentedly strong response to annual United States-South Korea military drills, which it views as a preparation for an invasion of its country. Now, South Korea's military said it detected 2 missile launches on Monday morning from a town on North Korea's west coast, which were later confirmed by North Korean official media. Japan said both missiles landed in waters outside Japan's exclusive economic zone and that no damage to aircraft or vessels in the area was reported. But they flew distances that suggest most of South Korea is in range. The tests follow an intercontinental ballistic missile launch on Saturday, which was the country's first since January 1st, and a U.S. bomber flight over the Korean peninsula, which was conducted in response on Sunday. In the Midwest, where an Ohio senator condemns the train operator and the lobbyist over toxic derailment. Ohio Senator Sherrod Brown had harsh criticism on Sunday for corporate lobbyists and for Norfolk Southern, which is the Atlanta-based operator of the train that derailed in East Palestine, Ohio 2 weeks ago while carrying toxic chemicals. Speaking on Sunday to CNN's State of the Union, the Democrat said the derailment, which caused the release of toxic chemicals, including the carcinogenic vinyl chloride, was an episode of the same old story and that Norfolk Southern had caused it. Quote, corporations do stock buybacks. They do big dividend checks. They lay off workers, Brown said. Quote, thousands of workers have been laid off from Norfolk Southern. Then they don't invest in safety rules and safety regulation, and this kind of thing happens. That's why people in East Palestine are so upset. They know that corporate lobbyists have had far too much influence in our government, and they see this as a result. These things are happening because these railroads are simply not investing the way they should in car safety and in the rail lines themselves. Brown said that Norfolk Southern and corporate lobbyists were wholly responsible for the accident, which has caused breathing difficulties, rashes, nausea, headaches, and even swollen eyes, as well as killing pets and wildlife. Quote, there's no question they caused it with this derailment because they underinvested in their employees. They never look out for their workers. They never look out for their communities. They look out for stock buybacks and dividends. Something's wrong with corporate America, and something's wrong with Congress and administrations listening too much to corporate lobbyists, and that's got to change. Let's go to Texas, where Austin police and 911 staffing levels have been questioned after street racers take over major intersections and injure a cop. Some Austin City Council members are speaking out about the police department's vacancies and the ongoing problems at the 911 call center after a chaotic scene unfolded downtown on Saturday evening. Street racers took over an intersection at South Lamar Boulevard and Barton Springs Road, drifting in the middle of the street and setting off fireworks as throngs of people looked on at the mayhem. One law enforcement officer was injured, and several police cars were damaged in the fracas. Quote, imagine for a moment that the incidents last night happened with large-scale events going on. Council member Mackenzie Kelly said on Sunday, noting that she is, quote, increasingly concerned about our police vacancies. Quote, the possibility of a catastrophic cascading failure due to a lack of support from our police department puts the city, its residents, and visitors at risk of danger. Council member Allison Alter told the Austin American Statesman that she happened upon the street takeover and called 911, but ended up on hold for 28 minutes. The The Austin Police Department's Emergency Communications Division has been dealing with a staffing crisis for several months, with the 911 call center lowering its minimum staffing requirements last August due to, quote, unprecedented vacancy rates. Okay, everybody, thank you so much for watching. As always, all of the links to the articles that I've covered in this video, I will put in the video's description. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Also, you can leave a comment down below. And if you guys would like even more news, you can visit my website. All of the links to all of my sites and social media accounts are down below. And I will see you guys for even more news headlines tomorrow.